in Alchemy League. This set comes from the Copper Division, or Cuprum Division, Cuprum Subdivision 2, Juicy 45 versus Jasuni. This division is, well, theoretically they're between 1200 and 1400, but Jasuni is in the lower 800s 1v1. So he has been given 20% handicap to play the tournament in. And Jasuni is a friend of the community. He made one of the maps for Alchemy League. So we know he's not trying to smurf or anything, but he doesn't have enough games to be eligible for prize. So for Jasuni, this is just for fun. But Juicy is eligible for prize because we have a pretty good understanding of his skill level. Let me just show you guys where these players are. Oops. Not that. Here we go. For crying out loud. Alright, here we go. So Juicy 45, predicted ELO 1278, and Jasuni 835. But Juicy hasn't had a good win rate lately, and so this depressed his win rate. Or not his win rate, his estimated final ELO. So depending on the day, Juicy could play like a 1600 or an 800 ELO. It just really depends on how he's doing that day. So we'll see what today is for Juicy. We've got, the first map is Rapa Nui. So Rapa Nui is a map made by Cookie Pirate. It is inspired by Easter Island. So you can see all the different little statues of the heads. And we've got this unique mechanic that I wanted to try out for Rapa Nui. We have a merchant. And this is a Berber merchant. Because Juicy 45's civilization is the Berbers. I actually think it's fun how the merchant has a different skin type depending on the civilization. And the unique feature is that when this merchant dies, he drops a relic. Which is sort of weird. So you definitely don't want to lose your merchant to Town Center Arrowfire. So Juicy 45 is the Blue Berbers and Jasuni is the Red Romans. Jasuni, remember, has a 20% handicap, so it's a little bit more forgiving. If he makes mistakes, he can recover from them more easily. He just completed a dock. So he will be fishing any minute now. He's got 5 on wood, so that's a good number for somebody with 20% handicap to generate some fishing ships, and he is getting loom. Here's Jasuni's merchant. I wonder if his merchant is going to walk under the town center and get shot. And that would illustrate the concept of the merchant dropping a relic quite well. No, it doesn't look like it. He successfully avoids it. Congratulations, Jasuni. So what about this Civ matchup? What can they do? Well, I like Romans a lot better. I'm not going to lie. I think Juicy chose Berbers maybe because the ships are faster. And so that he could get over here with some fire ships and maybe kill Jasuni's economy on the water. If I had to guess, that would be why Juicy chose Berbers. I can't imagine why you would choose Berbers for a reason outside of that. But Juicy does like his cavalry archers, so maybe he wants to do camel archers for some reason on this map. But this map is all about controlling this wood in the middle. Wood is generally limited on Rapa Nui. It is the resource that runs out first. So there are a lot of birds on this map too. Boy, this could be a tough one to cast. Capture Age is having a hard time rendering all of these birds. Okay, Juicy 45 beginning the wall off. Now in the past, we've seen Jasuni do some kind of man-at-arms rush. It'll be interesting to see if Jasuni goes for feudal aggression or if he just tries to go for fast castle. They both only have about 10 seconds of idle town center time on average. Jasuni's merchant is standing here inspecting the boar, making sure that the villagers are taking the meat properly before moving on. You actually cannot garrison this merchant inside of a town center. Alright, Jasuni is on his way up to the feudal age, and Juicy is not far behind. The Romans have faster working villagers. Villagers are just 5% better I think, in every way. So it's a modest eco bonus, but it's a good one. And on top of that, Juicy has 20, or not Juicy, Jasuni. Oh man, this is gonna mess with me all game. Jasuni has 20% handicap, so it's like his villagers are 25% better in a way. So here comes the merchant, and here comes the villager. I have to see what Jasuni is going to do here. Juicy 45 walling off to this wood line. I don't think there's a hole here, but it's hard to tell because I don't have my mods enabled. And he's going to start the wall off on this side. So Jasuni building a barracks, a forward barracks. This is an aggressive barracks. It could be more aggressive, but this tells us that Jasuni is out to get Juicy 45. Has Jasuni made any fire ships? No, doesn't look like it. You don't see it up here in his queue. So I know that Juicy will not forget about water, though. Juicy will make at least one fire ship when he gets to the next stage. There it is, fire galley. So he doesn't forget about stuff like that. Now, Jasuni's got his barracks up. He's making militia. I believe that these militia create faster because of the handicap. He's making another, okay, he's making a blacksmith. So you can get the blacksmith upgrades. And Juicy building a barracks over here too. So Jasuni's going to scout this, and he's going to know that his opponent is open on this side. And Juicy maybe sees this scout scouting him over here, and it's a little bit sensitive, probably suspicious that Jasuni is going to do something. Now, Jasuni's man-at-arms could come up this way, but they'd have to go through these Gaia units, so it'd be sort of annoying. You kind of have to come around. The map feels a little bit Oasis-like early on. We got man-at-arms exiting, or I should say militia exiting the barracks, and they are going to be upgraded to man-at-arms very shortly. They've just gotten the armor, and because Romans get double the effect from the armor upgrades, they are actually very well armored. These things are going to be hard to kill. And there's a lot of them, too. So Juicy, he's got his wood line here. Does Juicy know about these man-at-arms that are coming? I don't believe that Juicy scouted that. No, he does not know. He thinks that Jasuni is going to come from this side because that's his open side. The man-at-arms are in on the wood line. Will this villager go down? So apparently there was a hole here. The man-at-arms walked right around. And Juicy caught with his britches down a little bit, I think. Was not expecting that. Jasuni really... A lot of people think, okay, you know, somebody's 800 elo, they're not going to feudal rush or anything like that. But not Jasuni. Jasuni does feudal age. That's something that we saw in his set against Andrew. So Juicy having to small wall the gold, and he transfers all of his lumberjacks over to this one lumber camp. And looks like a spearman went down, but Juicy has not lost any villagers yet. So maybe he'll lose some now. Well, he's got to evacuate the berries. Jasuni is probably going to get this one. No, he bails on it. I would have dove the town center a little bit to get that villager. So Juicy has still kept everything alive. And what's he going to do? I guess he wants to click up to the next stage. He has the resources. He hasn't really... Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, okay, these man-at-arms are just chill. They're just going to let the villagers... Oh, you don't want to fight man-at-arms. It's too many man-at-arms. You don't want to fight that Juicy. Yeah, he gets out of there. And Jasuni has some archers coming in. So Juicy 45 has to build a watchtower to keep his woodline safe. He has not clicked up to the castle age. He's getting wheelbarrow. And these man-at-arms are going to destroy this mill very quickly. Juicy kind of sending these out here, I think, because he doesn't really have anything else to do with them. His base is not secure. Jasuni just has to walk over here and pressure Juicy's gold miners. Juicy not having the resources to do much else. Jasuni continuing the flood of units. Okay, I guess they had a pause there. Juicy, you can fight one man-at-arms, the villagers. But yeah, Juicy's in a really tough spot. He needs the buildings to click up. He has the resources. but he does not have the buildings, and he doesn't have the buildings because he doesn't have the wood, and he doesn't have the wood because Jasuni messed with his wood line. So Jasuni finally getting over here with the archers, taking Juicy off of gold. Man, Juicy and Jasuni, that's tough. So Juicy chopping the wood here. I would build a blacksmith if I were Juicy. Build a blacksmith next. With a blacksmith, he'd be one building closer to getting up. I would actually build it like right here to the berries, and then maybe wall off this way, so that Jasuni would at least have to get a transport ship to come around. He's going to build a market first, though. I guess it makes sense. You could use the market to rearrange your extra resources, and he could even buy wood that way and build his other building. But if he builds the blacksmith, then he can get fletching. He could improve the range and damage of this tower and the damage of this town center. So Jasuni diving the farm. Juicy quick walling this. He's not going to quick wall this. And there's a couple man-at-arms now into Juicy's wood line. But they're weak. They were hit by the town center. So Juicy's villagers should be able to shank them down. And this is indeed what he does. It's hard to see Juicy winning this game with so little map control. But you never know. I mean, maybe Juicy will find a way to come back. He does have the resources for Castle Age. He is building a blacksmith now. We can see that Juicy has made 2 fire galleys and completely cleaned up Jasuni's food income on the water. So that's an important win for him. Hey, Juicy, welcome. I'm glad that you're here, that you found the cast. We were just talking about how I think Juicy was caught very much off guard by the decision of an 800 ELO player to go Feudal Age. We saw Jasuni go Feudal Age aggression versus Andrew, but I don't know if everyone saw my casting of that game. But, you know, usually when you think of 800 players, you think of T90 cast and the low elo legends and the guys going only waiting until Imperial Age when they have a big army and attacking. But sometimes people can surprise you. People of all elos can do the different things that you're meant to do in Age of Empires. They may not be as good at it as people who are higher elos. They may need a little bit of handicap to help them out against tough guys or tougher opponents. Juicy is on his way up to the Castle Age now. He managed to probably buy a stable. This wood line is kind of a disaster, so I think Juicy probably had to buy the wood for this stable. I could be wrong. What's in the stable now? Alright, Juicy's making scouts. This is Juicy's comfort unit right here. This is what Juicy makes when he's uncomfortable. He loves scouts and cavalry archers. I really wish Juicy would like wall stuff off though. Like he could wall here, or maybe he could have walled to the berries and then here. I like how he's got this demolition raft waiting though. You know what he should do? He should like wall to the coast and then wait for Jasuni to get funneled through that choke point and then blow it up with the demolition raft. Maybe that is what he's waiting for. So Jasuni is getting close to having the Castle Age resources, and he has just clicked up now. He's got a ton of extra wood and a ton of extra gold. So I'm wondering if we'll see Jasuni make a bunch of scorpions. Alright, Juicy coming out here and adding a second town center on the gold. And this will give Juicy some much needed gold control. There's a gold here, but there's a bunch of archers camping it, so Juicy can't really do much. He has some military, but it's not enough to overpower Jasuni, unless Jasuni doesn't pay attention and loses it for free, which appears to be the case right now. He's just attacking the stable. Alright, Jasuni notices this. There's knights out. Knights are very good against archers. You need a lot of archers. Do these archers have the upgrade? Alright, they do. They do have fletching. Jasuni's man-at-arms are fighting this knight. And I think Juicy's going to finally be able to use Castle Age. And, oh, it's so close. I think this knight will survive. I think Jasuni is not committed to winning this. Yeah, Jasuni's pulling back. He's got so many production buildings and buildings in general over here, though, so there's not much room for Juicy to do things over here. He might be able to fit a few buildings in on this side, but Jasuni's seeing the knight. He's making spearmen. It's very logical. Jasuni has 12 military to Juicy's 4. The villager count is 46 for Juicy and 39 for Jasuni. And it looks like Juicy is going to come in here and raid Jasuni with his half-health knight. Jasuni is about to hit Castle Age now. We'll see what he does with it. Alright, so Jasuni in Castle Age, he's queued more man-at-arms. Jasuni garrisoning the town center, shooting, and he is killing the knight. Jasuni does not even have a dock now, doesn't care about that. He's just pressuring Juicy. He's got infantry on Juicy's tower. He takes the tower down. There's a couple spearmen mixed in here, so they're going to be able to deal with the knights a little bit better. And it seems like he wants the other tower, but Juicy's got a knight working on this. So it's going to kill his infantry if Jasuni doesn't pay attention. Alright, Jasuni has gotten the long swordsman upgrade. He's getting the armor for his infantry. So Jasuni's committing to an infantry push here. But I'd really like to see if Jasuni wants to really put the pressure on... Wait. Oh, it's a castle. Jasuni wants to drop a castle on Juicy 45. This is a very aggressive castle. That's a good castle, too. A castle, like, right here, if this house were destroyed, would have been even better. But this is just about as good as it gets. Because Juicy's struggling for wood. Like, Juicy has 16 on wood, and his wood situation is so awkward. There are a few scattered trees over here. He's got a lumber camp here. But he really needs to be able to come up here and take this wood, or push out this way and take this wood as a sort of a last resort. Juicy throwing up a couple houses. This castle is kind of within striking range of this wood here. I don't know if Jasuni has gotten the range upgrade for his crossbowman. No, okay, so he needs Bodkin still. And even then, I don't think he'll be able to fully range Juicy's lumberjacks. But there's nothing stopping these archers from coming forward here. So this castle firing into the town center. And Juicy wants to come out here and start taking this gold. Jasuni attacking the town center. He does not see the gold here. He's not looking at it. See what Jasuni can see, actually. Come on. My capture age is a little bit laggy today. Alright, I guess we won't see what Jasuni can see, but he hasn't attacked this. It's given Juicy time to get a siege workshop up so that he can build a mangonel to defend against these crossbowmen. Jasuni has a centurion out, and he downs Juicy's merchant, and so now Juicy has a relic underneath of his town center. And we've got knights fighting centurions and longswords, and Jasuni is everywhere. This does not look good for Juicy. Okay, the crossbowmen are coming around now. And Juicy calls the GG. Having lost his town center, it's only a matter of time before this town center gets overrun. So that was a really fun game, though. Jasuni taking the first one. And I think Juicy's a little caught off guard with the 20% handicap, and just the idea of somebody who is in the low 800s going for feudal aggression like that. I think that would catch most people by surprise. They're going to have to come in here and watch the recordings and see what somebody like Jasuni is capable of. And indeed, he is capable of that. So now we're going to go to Juicy's home map, which is Comet. We've seen Juicy with a really solid man-at-arms build as Bulgarians on this map. So Juicy could attempt that, and he'll see if he can kill Jasuni before the handicap gets out of control. As we load into the second game here. It's really fun to see people are starting to develop strategies and metas and like things that they like to do for certain maps. We haven't gotten to the point where We've seen other people like take the ideas that others had and change them around a little bit. But we have seen people start to have favorite maps and civilizations and strategies on maps. And that is the case certainly here with Juicy's choice of Bulgarians. So Juicy with the Bulgarians, we've seen this before. He did this in his previous set, got a good win. I don't remember, I think it might have been against Alexander or something. I don't remember. There's so many games that we've casted. And Jasuni with the Saracens. I don't know about this one. Saracens are kind of an interesting choice. I guess, given how forward the wood lines are, a market could be pretty useful. It was Hans, that's right, it was Hans. And Jasuni might be thinking, oh, you know, I'll go into archers, there's plenty of gold available, and I'll just destroy all of Juicy's buildings. But Juicy has a plan. We've seen Juicy's plan against Hans. So we'll see if Juicy is able to successfully execute his plan, or if Jasuni will surprise him again. Let's click down here. Yeah, I don't have the Capture Age Pro. Jasuni with 0 seconds of town center idle time. You guys may not know this, but with the handicap... Oh, interesting. Juicy trying to lame Jasuni here a little bit, but Jasuni gets the goose. Juicy... If Juicy plans to be aggressive... I missed an important lame. Oops. Well, I was just looking here. Juicy is scouting Jasuni. Maybe Juicy did get some sheep off of just... Yeah, here they are. So Juicy did steal some of Jasuni's sheep. He didn't steal as many as he wanted to, but he stole some. And laming is bigger on this map because town center locations are predictable. They're close together and there are no wolves. So we've actually seen players at higher levels send entire... like, they'll send villagers across and take people's boars. Jasuni bringing in his boar here. So Juicy has found Jasuni's lumber camp, and that's going to be very important for him. He knows where all the different wood lines are that Jasuni could go for wood, and this is also very important if you're going to rush somebody. Lamed his boar as well. That I did not see. That explains why Juicy has so many boars back here. Juicy coming forward to lame his own sheep now. Well, the scout was full health, so I assumed that the scout would do it, but it sounds like Juicy sent his villager forward to take Jasuni's boar. Jasuni has his other boar. There's alternate food sources back here. Jasuni working on some box turtles, it looks like. Juicy's going to need the food. If he does what I think he's going to do, he's going to need the food. See, he has the wood to build the barracks. Does he build it? I don't even think Juicy built the barracks the last time we watched him play this map. I think he was that all in. Jasuni getting loom now. He wants to click up to the next stage, I think. He's got the food to make more villagers, but he's getting loom first. I think it's because he wants to click up. But he doesn't have the food because Juicy took his boar. So he has to find something else for his villagers to do. Juicy took his boar and Juicy took a lot of his sheep. Yep, here's the barracks now. So because Juicy wanted a very early barracks to do his man-at-arms rush against Hans, he couldn't build a dock, I think is what he's saying in the chat. So it makes sense that there's no dock this time. He's prioritizing the barracks. And we'll probably see, after Juicy clicks up, he'll probably force drop off some meat. And then we'll see him start to make militia. And then we'll see him head out across the map and probably get the Man-at-Arms upgrade as soon as he hits... Well, actually, Bulgarians get it for free. That's right. So he will definitely get the Man-at-Arms upgrade. And we're going to see militia any moment now. Juicy will queue some militia. Just bringing in that boar. That's very important. And he's bringing back the gold. And Jasuni's like, can I have these sheep back? And Juicy says no. Alright, so Juicy has the gold now for the three Man-at-Arms. Normally if you're going Man-at-Arms, docks are so bad on this map early. If you're going Man-at-Arms, you put 2 villagers on gold. But because Bulgarians get the upgrade for free, well, you don't have to do that. Alright, Jasuni is on his way up to the feudal age. He somehow afforded it. So Juicy's not going to be too far ahead in that respect. That's crazy with all that laming. That Juicy's only going to be a few seconds ahead to the feudal age. Juicy coming out looking for something to do with these Man-at-Arms. Jasuni now knows that Juicy has these Man-at-Arms because he attacked the barracks. And Jasuni is going to be making these houses. He's quick walling his wood line. So I think what Juicy wants to do is maybe attack the lumber camp or go over to the berries. I think the lumber camp might be better though, because the berries are closer to Juicy's production buildings. Juicy really wanted to, and he is sending more to gold, so he's just going to keep making those Man-at-Arms, although he is making a stable. I guess it would be just like Juicy to make scouts. Okay, Juicy's just going to tower the wood line. That's the decision. He's going to tower the wood line. He's going to try to get in and do damage on his opponent with the Man-at-Arms elsewhere. Jasuni quick walling. We'll see a villager come around. 2 villagers. It's even better. Alright, Jasuni wants to build a forward archery range here. But Juicy is making a scout. And I don't think Jasuni knows about that stable either. Yeah, so that scout is going to catch him off guard. Juicy already has 1 scout with his Man-at-Arms. I'm assuming this is his starting scout. And this scout is working on Jasuni's villager. Jasuni has loom. The villager has a little bit more health because of the handicap. Jasuni trying to go out to this to build another lumber camp, but does not succeed. I do not believe that Jasuni can see Juicy's tower. No, he cannot. It's just barely out of range. When Juicy completes the tower, he should stonewall the tower in, so that Jasuni cannot charge it down with villagers. This tower will basically make this lumber camp useless. Jasuni has to delete the house and evacuate. He's probably going to come over here. He's going to build an archery range. So he really wants that other archery range out. He wants to be able to mass archers. And indeed, if you have Man-at-Arms out, and you have sort of a head start in military, I think your opponent needs 2 archery ranges to catch up. And Jasuni does finally get it down. Jasuni only has 2 on gold, though. Yeah, Juicy stonewalling in the tower, which is smart. And then he has a choice. He can either creep this way toward the gold miners, or he can creep this way toward the wood. I would actually head toward the wood if I were Jasuni. Jasuni is rough on wood here. He's only got 48 of it. And Juicy attacking the archery range with scouts. He's over here with the Man-at-Arms. What is Juicy doing? He's building a couple houses here. Alright, these houses are probably to maybe either one of 2 things. They're either here to trap the villagers so that Juicy can get in with units. We got a panic tower here from Jasuni. Some villagers go down. Juicy... This is not a good tower location because the tower is not secure. You will always want to build your tower in range. Not always, but almost always. You want to build your tower. Juicy walling these villagers in for Jasuni so that he can build a tower on top of the wood line. Jasuni is in big trouble. You always want to build the base of your tower within range of another building, if you can. And if you can't, then at the very least you should have the base of your tower quick walled in, like this, well, except with your own units, with your own buildings. Because your opponent can just dive the base of that tower if they have enough units. Towers can't deal enough damage to incoming units to stop it most of the time. So Juicy is all in feudal age here. He's sending more villagers forward. I'm not sure what these villagers are for. We're getting some laughing. I think it's because Juicy walled in Jasuni's villagers here, and he's going to build another tower on Jasuni's wood line, except this time Jasuni cannot get away. Jasuni does have a market, and he is Saracens, so he gets good deals at the market. I think Juicy will just attack this mining camp now. So he's basically gone scouts and man-at-arms. Scouts to help him deal with the archers, and man-at-arms to deal with any spearmen. I don't see where the man-at-arms are. Okay, they're over here. They're going to clean that up. Jasuni does have one lumber camp, and Juicy has not been over here recently, so Jasuni is taking from it. And yeah, Juicy's going to work on this now. Wants to shut down the gravy train here. Prevent Jasuni from spending his resources. Oh, but Jasuni's on his way up to Castle Age. So maybe Jasuni could do something with Castle Age that would help him get into the game. Does Juicy have armor on the scouts? No, he does not. Scouts do not appear to have any upgrades, not even bloodlines. So Jasuni long distance taking this stone. This tower has killed some of Jasuni's villagers. Jasuni long distance taking this wood. He needs wood, but Juicy's denied the wood at every turn, except for over here. Juicy hasn't been back here recently. I don't think Jasuni dares send anything over there. Sometimes when you're getting rushed by your opponent and it's going really rough, you don't even want to send villagers out to like a safe resource collection. We even have a scout here working on this fishing ship. It's keeping Jasuni's food income good. So is Jasuni going for a castle? Not enough wood for a mining camp, exactly. Jasuni does get to the Castle Age. He's trying to build this tower here. Juicy either doesn't notice or he's not able to get in on it. I think it's because Jasuni has quick-walled this. So Juicy's just going to attack the archers instead. Jasuni has the resources to go to Castle Age. His problem is he's got no wood. Juicy could and maybe should build a tower here, but he'd have to take more stone. Honestly, I'm not even sure how Juicy was able to afford all these two towers and these stone walls anyway. I don't see a mining camp on stone for Juicy. He must have long distanced the stone as well. Let's check. 350, 350. Or maybe he just bought it. Yeah, it looks like he just bought it. So maybe Jasuni sells all of his food and then uses the gold to buy stone and just make castles. Or make a castle. Or a bunch of towers. Just to keep Juicy away. Juicy is about a minute out from the Castle Age though. He is going over to stone now. So probably what will happen is Juicy will transition into Crayposts, and he'll just completely deny all of Jasuni's wood. He's already denied this wood line here with these two towers. He's denied this wood line here with this tower. But this wood line is secure for Jasuni. Although there are some man-at-arms working on the base of this tower, committing Jasuni to a constant repair. So Jasuni has to build this tower here to protect the base of that tower. Juicy running around in circles just to keep this pikeman busy. Alright, Jasuni getting Bodkin Arrow now. And the Bodkin Arrow will improve the range of his own buildings and help him cover better area. Juicy has placed the foundation for a forward Craypost here. You only need about 5, I think, on stone to sustain constant Craypost production. 5 or 6. It's really not a lot. And this Craypost is really going to complicate Jasuni's desire to take wood. Jasuni charging the Craypost. Juicy has a knight though. Oh, that's so tough to charge a knight like that. Even when you've got this many villagers, knights are just so powerful against villagers. Does this knight have any upgrades? Nope, doesn't need any though. But each villager only does guess they're doing 2 damage per hit. Maybe due to some handicap shenaniganery or something. Not sure. 3 plus 0, and the Knights have 2 melee armor, so they should be only doing 1 damage per hit. It must be getting hit by 2 villagers at the same time. Jasuni building another tower here to try and deny this Craypost. He cannot afford to let this Craypost go up. As Juicy is being highly aggressive with the Knights. His villagers are going to garrison in the tower, and if Jasuni is lucky, they'll shoot at... Oh, it's too late. The Craypost has gone up. It denies one of Jasuni's stones and half of this woodline here. So Jasuni in trouble. You know, maybe what Jasuni needs is he needs to, like, abuse the market, and drop a castle right here. Have it shoot down the 2 towers. He has Bodkin, but he just needs safe wood, but he has nothing on wood. The other option is Jasuni could just use the market. He could, like, maybe come out. Oh. All right, this is a good choice too. Jasuni maybe crossing his fingers and hoping that Juicy is so distracted with his base that he can come out here and take wood. And this is indeed some broken up bits of Comet. And they have trees growing on them. Okay, it's a little bit of an artistic license. Jasuni's going to have to buy wood using the market. That's what he does. And maybe he could fit a town center in here. I think that's what he wants. He's looking for a good spot to build a town center. I don't think you can town center these, though. I think you can town center the Mangrove Shallows. Oh, nope, you can. Okay, there it is. So there was just barely enough space. He's going to build a sneaky town center here and try to stay alive. Jasuni has 15 villagers. Juicy with 33 villagers. And Jasuni has 1 sad military unit somewhere. And I'm not sure where it is. But I don't envy it. Oh, but Juicy saw the villagers walking away, scouts this town center. So now he's going to know that Jasuni is out here taking resources. And Juicy will probably send the boys once he recognizes that. Jasuni evacuating more villagers. So maybe Juicy saw that the villagers were leaving and decided to go check it out. Yeah, this is not looking good for Jasuni. The game is pretty much over, I think. Even though Juicy only has 36 villagers, he has done massive amounts of damage to Jasuni. So these knights are here on this wood line, and they are not over here yet, but Juicy does know about it. It's Jasuni's last-ditch effort. Jasuni's still farming here. I want to know where Jasuni's 1 military unit is. It's attacking the Craypost. Aha! Here it is. Yes. And Juicy is ignoring it. Okay, so we got a single pikeman working on this Craypost. It looks like he will destroy this Craypost in about 2,000 more seconds. We have a watchtower that Juicy is going to build here. I think Jasuni can deny this watchtower, and yeah, Juicy thinks better of it. Jasuni sees it coming. He would see it coming, I should say. But Juicy should be able to send knights and mangonels over here and such. Juicy is out to get Jasuni. There's a Craypost right here. Oof. This is a brutal Craypost. And Jasuni can't even deny it. He would have to build the tower. I don't think Jasuni has the resources to build a tower. He's got to charge in with the villagers. Again, more knights. Tower coming up. Craypost going up. I think the Craypost is going to go up first. Jasuni proving very, very difficult to eradicate. though. He has definitely put up one heck of a fight. Made good decisions in terms of survival. But Juicy is just in too good of a position, I think. Jasuni trying to finish that tower, fails and calls the GG with 10 villagers remaining. Well played. That was an exciting game. Jasuni surviving a lot of punishment. So the match is tied up. Each player has won a single game so far. And we have one game left in the set. This is a play all three. I'm stubborn on the hopes of a comeback, even though I knew it was unlikely. Oh, that's the spirit. We don't like it when people give up too soon. All right. Next one is Whirlpool Lake. Now this one had a desync, but they were able to reload into it. So it's basically going to be in two parts, you guys. So this is a map that was chosen by Jasuni. And it's a good choice for Jasuni to make because it is his map. Jasuni made this map. This map has a big whirlpool in the center. You can see that there is a depression, there is water, there are 5 relics, there is a little unbuildable stone island, and there are 2 crocodiles guarding those relics. You think the third match was the best of the set? Well, this set is really good so far, so if the third match is the best, then I am very excited. So let's talk about the civilizations. Jasuni is Portuguese. We've seen Jasuni's Portuguese on this map before. And Juicy 45 is the Goths. We know that Juicy 45 loves his Goths. So I'm already very excited for this game. Now you can, of course, I should mention that this is mangrove shallow terrain here. So if you win water, you can indeed sail into somebody's town and start killing everything. The only thing that's in your way is this sea tower here. Now sea towers are not, well, they aren't as strong as watchtowers. I mean, and even here I'm kind of cheating a little bit because I'm clicking on the one with handicap. But if we click on the non-handicap sea tower, ooh, this is kind of an unfortunate sea tower for Juicy. The sea tower is not really covering the entrance of his town. Somebody could just sail right around and ignore Juicy's sea tower if they wanted. Oof, that's rough. That's alright though. We'll get after the map scripter and maybe he'll make a way to ensure that the sea tower appears on the channel. Probably just have to tell it to avoid the town center a little bit more. But anyway, so the sea tower is not as strong. If we click on this, it only has 500 health. But the thing about the sea tower is that it deals a ton of bonus damage to ships. And units that just are standing still. Juicy coming forward to lame Jasuni. He has no shame. Juicy's like, I'll take every advantage I can get. I know how powerful the handicap is. He's also come forward with the Gothic villager. And he's attacking Jasuni's boar. He actually could have sent 6 villagers forward. I know it's sort of an investment. But he could carry a lot of this boar meat back with him. And maybe that's what he plans to do. I don't know, he plans to wall in the boar. But Jasuni is here, and Jasuni's going to chase him away. I think Juicy needs to send his scout. Oh no, all right. He's able to quick wall it in. That's some good APM right there. Jasuni says, I saw that boar. You saw Juicy messing with you. So now Jasuni is going to wall in Juicy's villager. Juicy's going to walk away. Ah, Juicy, just go home. Just go home. The boar meat is rotting, though. I don't think Juicy's going to get away with this villager. So he's just going to take health off of the scout. I don't know if it's worth it, losing a villager to lame a boar like that. But I don't know much about that particular strategy. I think Juicy had an opportunity maybe to get that villager away if he had fought with the scout and fled with the villager immediately. But instead he wanted to wall the boar in. And the boar isn't even walled in. There's nothing here, so villagers could take there, and I think the villagers could kill other wall segments. Yeah, this one only has 7 and this one has 22. That's true. It is a lot of idle time for him. Send villagers chasing after it. This tells me that Juicy has more idle time, though. No boar for him? Oh, surely he must have gotten his other boar. I didn't see it, but I would assume that he got it. Juicy building another house here. So, I'm curious about what Juicy does next. We've got a dock from Juicy. Got a dock from Jasuni. They both have about 1 fishing ship. Exactly 1, because I can count them. Jasuni's building another. Juicy's building another. Are we going to see Juicy go like Gothic Man-at-Arm Flood? Jasuni likes to go for the relic victory on this map. That's what we saw before. He likes to build a transport. He tries to get the relics. Sets off the timer, and then he goes Imperial Age and builds a bunch of Fetorias, and while his opponent is panicking and trying to rush down the monastery, Jasuni masses a ton of resources with the Feitoria and then becomes unstoppable. This is how he played versus Andrew. Maybe it won't play the same way, though, because Andrew literally just sat back. He won water, but he didn't do any land aggression against Jasuni. So Jasuni was kind of left to his own devices on land. Oh, there's only 1 boar on this map. Larger sizes have neutral boars, but this isn't a larger size. That's true. It's a tiny size. So Juicy is walling this off with a dock. Okay. This is an interesting choice. So Juicy making the commitment to win water. Similar to Andrew. Water is just too good. There's too much fish. Let's count how much fish meat there is. There's 11.1k fish meat in this small area. What I like about Whirlpool Lake is that it is inherently defensible. If you are being pressured, there's a good chance that you will have the hill advantage because your opponent has to come up a hill to get to you. It would make water less snowbally in this situation. Blacksmith going up for Jasuni, and mining camp going up for Jasuni. He is the first to Feudal Age. Is he building any ships? No. Juicy is on his way up to Feudal Age, and he has 2 docks. Okay. The boar is rotting. Jasuni has not made any attempt to collect the meat from this boar. I guess he's got enough fish. He's building a galley, and he's getting fletching. So Jasuni wants to go into galleys. The connection from the player TC to the lake could be called a fatal funnel. Now, why do you say that? Have lots of ships died in that connection? I guess if they take a lot of damage to the sea tower, then they could. So Jasuni has a galley here, and it is on the prowl. But he doesn't make it quite fast enough. Juicy's going to have a fire ship out in just a few seconds to defend. Water is very defensible. Well, I would never call water defensible, but it's more defensible than it usually is. And that is a very good thing. So Jasuni, he did some scouting. He found the fishing ships, and now he's going to go back to kill them. But Juicy has fire ships here. Jasuni will make another galley. But in low numbers, fire ships are very effective against galleys. So I predict that Juicy will win water here pretty soon. But Jasuni is on his way up to the Castle Age. So Juicy pursuing the fishing ships. You know what you could do? if you were Juicy, is you could come forward and you could stonewall off this and prevent the fishing ships from getting back out to take fish, forcing Jasuni to build a dock and fish traps if he wants to use them. That's a pretty good way of effectively killing these units. Juicy's going to pull back, though, and I think Jasuni will come out and try to be sneaky and take fish, perhaps. But maybe Jasuni will just get up to the Castle Age and get the upgrades, and then try to take water, or maybe Jasuni will build a tower on water. Oh, that's true. Goth don't get stone walls. I always forget about that. It's because they don't need them. So Juicy, with a very unbalanced economy, he's set up for massive fire ship production. His opponent is Castle Age now, so Juicy is going to have to get up to Castle Age himself. He'll probably be buying lots of food, I would predict. Jasuni could build docks inside of his town if he wants in here, so he's not limited to a single dock for production. He wants to build this tower. Juicy sees it. He has to be careful to stay out of range of the sea tower. And Jasuni has made a monk. Monk is going to convert that fire ship, and Jasuni ungarrisoning some of his war galleys. And Jasuni is going to go for these relics. And he will have water control to do it. So what's Juicy's plan? What's Juicy going to do about this? So here's Jasuni's fleet. He has secured his fishing ships. He's not going to look for Juicy's fishing ships yet. He's content to wait, because all Jasuni ever really wanted was the relic victory. And he makes a transport ship. Here's the transport. We'll see a monk hop into that transport pretty soon. Jasuni has some monks around, but they are alright. They're in the tower. That's interesting. I don't think monks contribute additional arrows from towers, but that is funny that Jasuni put the monks in the tower. This is a good way to keep them safe. This transport ship trying to figure its way out around that dock. There we go. The whirlpool is perilous to navigate. Juicy on his way up to the Castle Age. He is going heavily on stone. I think this is smart from Juicy. I think Huskarls could be extremely damaging to his opponent. Jasuni coming in. He's picking up 3 relics. And he's going to trigger the relic victory very soon. I don't know if Juicy continues to contest water or what he does. I would assume not. Juicy getting the armor for infantry. Juicy's going to have to get the farming upgrades, I think. I don't think he wants to contest water long term. The monks are coming back for the relics. Jasuni only needs to send 2. I would have sent 3 just in case he lost one, but he only sends 2. We know he has 3 monks. He's got 4 monks, actually. Send them all. What if your opponent had a demo ship or something? Jasuni says the competitivity sheet listed galleys is dominant and fire ships is uncommon in Feudal Age. Interesting. So Ray thought that galleys would be the thing to do. That's interesting. Well, it's good that you were paying attention to that kind of stuff. As the person that just hosted the tournament, all I cared about were the scores. Because I just did not have time to go in and be like, do I agree with this? Do I think Ray filled this out? You know, you just have to, at some point, trust the system and, trust that the time that you spent meeting with somebody and explaining what you were going for was sufficient. He'd need water control to use demos on the monks. Well, Juicy has a dock here. He could have had a galley, or not a galley, a demolition raft garrisoning the dock, and he could have snuck it around and then come in. And we saw in Jasuni versus Andrew, Jasuni not having water control but still getting stuff here to the center and removing relics. So now Jasuni is going to build a university. This is code word for I want to click up now. And he is going to queue Imperial Age. And he is on his way. So he's triggered the relic victory. He's on his way to Imp. Juicy is going to see that relic victory. That is not good. He is making Huskarls. I think Juicy wants another castle so that he can make more Huskarls. We can see that Juicy is starting to transition into alternate food sources. His people are eating farms and turtles. Cookie Pirate says, I was going to cast this, but thanks for taking it over. Oh, okay. Well, just in the stream schedule, just let me know what you plan on casting, and I'll react with the cookie emoji once you cast it. It doesn't really matter who casts it, as long as the recordings end up on YouTube somewhere for people to go and find, and people can use the emojis to know where to look for the recordings. So we've got a few... Oh, this is interesting. We got a few Man-at-Arms. Okay, so apparently at some point Juicy made Man-at-Arms, and I completely missed it. I don't really understand why Juicy would make Man-at-Arms. I don't know what they are for. Maybe he just happened to build a couple left over from a previous plot. We've got some Huskarls here. Now, if there is a Civ that can do something about this, it is Goth. Goths have essentially free arson, but better. Their infantry get attack bonuses versus buildings. Juicy coming in and dropping a castle on Jasuni. So this castle is a bad idea, but Juicy does not know that yet. Juicy does not know that Jasuni is about to hit Castle Age, or Imperial Age himself. Once Jasuni hits Imperial Age, he can destroy this castle with cannon galleons, and that will probably be what ends up happening. But now Juicy's committed. He's built about 40% of the castle, so might as well finish it. He's got Huskarls working over here on this house. They're trying to get in on this monastery and reset the relic counter. If Jasuni is paying attention, he could convert the Huskarls. But overall, it's not pretty. Jasuni has built this kind of annoyingly up next to other buildings and palm trees. And he wants to make this monastery as hard to kill as possible. Although he has not stonewalled it in because he hasn't really been seriously attacked like this. The Huskarls are going to destroy the ships. They have high pierce armor. And then, presumably, Juicy will start working on the monastery. Jasuni wants to rush down a castle. I don't think this castle will go up. Maybe it will. But I'm skeptical that the castle will go up. I think that Juicy... Well, no, it's building pretty fast. It's building pretty fast, the handicap. And he had just enough ships to tank it. So, Juicy going to pull back, and he's just going to focus on the monastery. The monastery is the objective that he needs for now to deny the relic victory. The Huskarls will tear down this monastery quite quickly. He's got all of the armor upgrades that Goths can get. And he has the first attack upgrade. Goths do get all of the attack upgrades. So what I would do if I were Juicy now is as soon as this goes down, build a monastery and get the relics for yourself. And maybe that's what Juicy will do. The relics are popping out. Monastery goes down. Jasuni is going to need to tech into chemistry. I saw a reference to hand cannons. He's got a Feitoria coming up. Hand cannons are good against Huskarls. They get bonus damage, but because they're archers, Huskarls also do bonus damage to them. So you need a certain critical mass to really take on Huskarls. Again, Huskarls are kind of like fire ships versus galleys here in this situation. They're good in low numbers against hand cannons. When hand cannon numbers are low and their numbers are low. But once hand cannon numbers start to get high and units can get one shot and microed and hide behind buildings or in between buildings or up against forests, Huskarls, their effectiveness drops significantly. We see a dock here from Jasuni. I'm wondering if Jasuni is going to make demolition rafts against Juicy, or if this is going to be for cannon galleons. I'm not sure. But Jasuni needs to get chemistry. I don't think he has it. Oh, no, he does. Okay, he's building cannon galleons. Smart. These cannon galleons can destroy this castle. From the safety of this castle, Juicy is still castle age himself. He has somehow taken back water. I guess he invested in a bunch of fire ships, plus the Huskarls destroying things. And I think Juicy needs to double down on these Huskarls and tear down this castle while he has the chance, before Jasuni gets a good hand cannon mass. Jasuni getting architecture, because he's afraid. These fire ships are coming in. They want to stop this cannon galleon. Here comes some Huskarls from both directions now. They're diving the cannon galleon, and they will probably dive the castle too. That's what I would do if I were Juicy. Force Jasuni to get murder holes. There's a... Okay, you do want to stop this organ gun here. He's going to come over on the safer side of the castle. Got a demolition ship colliding with the castle. Juicy could even go into petards, potentially. I'm not sure why Juicy is not focusing this castle, though. I feel like this castle is doing so much damage to his stuff. He's going to come over here and try to find damage. Maybe destroy the Feitoria instead. Jasuni stonewalling in this Feitoria. Dadgum. But Juicy taking a very different approach to Andrew. Like, if this were Andrew, he would be at 120 villagers by now and have no military, and he'd be massing up 60 cavaliers to destroy the monastery. So, Juicy trying the aggro approach against Jasuni. He is stealing your relics. That's true. That's very smart of Juicy to do this. Maybe he can't beat the handicap long term, but he can at least buy himself enough time to win his own relic victory. Juicy going to work on this Feitoria here and try and tear this down. Goths do so much damage to buildings. But Jasuni did get architecture to improve the armor of this building, and that will help it out. Juicy is on his way up to the Imperial Age now. He has 3 of the 5 relics, sending his monk back to get more. Trebuchet was working on this castle. Organ gun trying to stop this. Is it going to succeed? The monk is running. No, the monk goes down. So Jasuni manages to secure these 2 relics for now. Is Juicy going to invest into keeping this castle alive? I don't think so. I think the castle did what it was supposed to do, which was provide a forward. Jasuni building probably what's going to be a bombard tower here. What is this? It looks like it's a watchtower. No, it's a guard tower. That's not going to do anything. Bombard towers are much more effective against Huskarls because they deal 120 damage, so it doesn't matter how much pierce armor Huskarls have. This Feitoria will go down. Jasuni building another Feitoria. Juicy all over the place now, but with Feitoria, it's much harder to raid. So the Feitoria goes down. He doesn't have Bombard Tower yet. Ah, okay, that explains it. And Juicy actually wants to move these relics even further back. He does not want Jasuni getting those relics at all. Monk bringing it back. He's got a demolition ship here. Keeping an eye out for enemy units. The Bombard Tower tech is expensive. That's true. The Bombard Tower technology is very expensive. A little bit of market action here. Capture Age, chittering. Okay, Juicy's getting devotion. That's interesting. Doesn't want Jasuni converting his Huskarls, I guess. Where are Juicy's Huskarls? They need to be right here on this gold. Did Juicy not scout that gold? That would be pretty unfortunate for Juicy. No, he knows about that gold. He doesn't know that Jasuni happens to have like 20 units here. Juicy building another dock. Nobody has traded with the markets yet. Trying to find where the monastery is. Juicy wants to build it back here somewhere, it looks like. Jasuni picking up these relics and returning them. He's only going to get to keep 2 of them. Juicy stole 3. Jasuni wants to build another Feitoria here. Juicy, I feel like Juicy should be a lot more active with these Huskarls. Like, these Huskarls could be denying so much stuff back here. But he's just He's just attacking Jasuni's houses, which is a mistake. Do not want to let Jasuni get all of these Fatorias cooking. Juicy, only 41 villagers. Jasuni has 47 villagers, plus whatever villagers additional Fatoria constitute. However, I will say that destroying the houses is housing Jasuni and making it harder for Jasuni to build more Fatoria. So there is that advantage. Jasuni has gotten fortified wall to get in Juicy's way. And Juicy's going to see that there's a new Fatoria here that his opponent just rebuilt. Jasuni building another Fatoria and he's getting Galleon, okay. Juicy with lots of map control. But the thing about Portuguese is they don't care about map control. They don't care. They can build these Fatorias and have all the resources they could ever want. Juicy is back. He's deciding what he wants to do with these. Okay, he is just going to attack the Fatoria. He needs to come like 10 tiles down this way and kill a bunch of villagers. Yeah, you're very housed. Juicy has been destroying houses. Juicy has Dromons. What? Goth get Dromon? Let's go. I did not realize that. So now he's having a little micro battle against this Trebuchet. Dromon goes down to Incidental Castle Arrowfire, which is unfortunate for Juicy. He'll probably make another. But that Trebuchet is on fire. Jasuni wants to convert this fire ship. Fire ship moving up and gets destroyed by the castle. This is a pretty messy looking lumber camp though. Okay, that Fatoria goes down again. Juicy has destroyed another Fatoria, and he is on his way over here now. He sees that his opponent has built 2 more Fatoria. Jasuni building a blacksmith in its place this time. But I think that Juicy should just go full Dromon at this point. Dromons, he would kill a castle, he would kill a town center, he'd kill a monastery with relics in it, and he'd kill at least 2 Fatorias, and he would deny the golds. I think Dromons are the play. We'll see what Juicy ends up doing. Yeah, he is making another Dromon here, but he's not investing heavily into Dromon. He has to deal with this Trebuchet again. Pretty annoying. Okay, he does get the Trebuchet. I presume that he's bringing this Dromon back for repairs. He's got monks that can convert the galleons. Juicy getting fervor and sanctity because he's serious about these monks converting these galleons and their hand cannons out. Jasuni with the 3 Fatoria plus 47 villagers, so he's got over 100 villagers effectively working to Juicy's 45. Huh, Juicy 45. Alright. 2 Dromon. I think Juicy needs like 10 Dromons before he can engage this. Is he making more Dromon? No. He's making fire ships. Fire ships are just not gonna... They're not gonna get anywhere close. He needs to repair this Dromon. Goes down, he's trying to get some conversions in. Some questionable military composition. You just make 10 to 20 Dromons. And it's expensive, but you could flatten anything. You spend the cash to get heresy. It's a lot of cash. It's an expensive technology. Ho! I like this. We have 1 villager building a castle here. It ranges a Fatoria and it ranges a guard tower. Juicy could make trebuchets. I don't like the fire ships though. I don't think the fire ships make sense. They have to get too close to the castle to do anything. Juicy has 1 relic in that monastery. He has not moved it back yet. What do we got over here? Okay, we got a stable from Juicy, but there's hand cannons here. hand cannons are keeping an eye on this stable and making sure that Juicy doesn't make anything out of it. Juicy getting fast fire ship. And Jasuni building another Feitoria. So he's going to have 5 Feitoria. Jasuni villager charging these monks. Juicy at 50 villagers to Jasuni's 48. Now these hand cannons need to be careful because if they get on the wrong side of a blast from a Dromon, they could be killed very easily. Now remember guys that Jasuni did not see Juicy 45 taking relics out of this monastery. So as far as Jasuni is concerned, there are 3 relics in this monastery. Maybe he'll prioritize attacking it because he thinks that he can get more relics that way. Juicy's very active over here. He's sending more villagers to build this castle. He's got a monk working on this villager. Juicy getting heavy demolition ship, which I love. And he's got what? A demolition ship queued after that. And he's making more Dromons. So Juicy committing to water. He wants water. He's being annoying. He's raiding with the Huskarls outside here. He's got a monk so he can see that Jasuni's taking wood here. But I think that Juicy just does not appreciate how much income is coming from these 5 Feitorias here. Jasuni can basically afford to do whatever he wants. So there's a cannon ship here. Juicy will probably come forward with a monk to convert it. And that monk will be the defense against cannon galleons. For this castle, we saw a monk over here. I don't know what happened to it. Maybe it died. Juicy making trebuchets. Cannon galleons beat trebuchets, but monks beat cannon galleons. Okay, here we go. We've got hand cannons attacking fire ships, and we have an attack ground from Juicy. And the hand cannons are forced to withdraw. So he's coming back with the Dromons. He really wants to push this area with Dromons, but there's just too many things here. He needs more Dromon. Trebuchet being created. He's making a couple trebuchets. He wants to pressure this side and destroy that Feitoria. Could you imagine if Juicy still had his monk here? Like, this castle would still be at full health. Huskarl's in raiding the wood line. There is a monk over here. Jasuni's hand cannon army not pushing out. Juicy adding another town center. Juicy doesn't like to boom either. He's out of stone, so he cannot continue to repair this castle. So we just have a few trebuchets working on the Feitoria. Oh, but he destroys the cannon galleon with a single man-at-arms. That's funny. So this Feitoria will go down. Juicy stone miners will bring in a little bit more stone, and he'll be able to repair this castle. He should refresh his mining camp, though, but he's just so broke. He doesn't have a bunch of Feitoria like Jasuni has. There's 6 Feitorias here. It's insane. Juicy going strangely into crossbow. I don't understand that. So the trebuchets are going to work on this other Feitoria. I believe that the infantry can come around and stop this, though. Castle cannot reach the point that these hand cannons would have to stand at to shoot at the trebuchets. Alright, Juicy swarming this area with fire ships, though. Castles deal so much damage to ships, though. But this is what he needs to push the castle. He doesn't want to make more than just a few Dromons, because they're expensive. Which I understand. He's sort of taking advantage of the fact that Jasuni's military is over here to be able to make his push against this castle. And it is unsuccessful. He has to pull back. He does not destroy the castle, and Jasuni has all the stone in the world. Alright, Juicy cleaning this area up. He's got a couple of Huskarls here, and he is destroying Jasuni's outposts. Jasuni is building a tower here. It is a bombard tower, and it will help protect his castle. Juicy teching into elite skirmisher and adding town centers. He has not... Seems like he hasn't had much luck pushing Jasuni, who now has essentially infinite resources. Alright, so we have a desync. So now we are going to watch the second part. Jasuni adding yet another Feitoria. No, wait. It is a wonder. Interesting. So Jasuni, not confident in his ability to push back Juicy, and not having all the relics, decides to build a wonder instead. This is a terrible wonder location. Man, all Juicy has to do is make like 30 Dromons, and it would be GG for Jasuni. Dromons would flatten everything. Juicy is investing more in Navy. He's getting careening, and he's doing heavy demolition ships. Jasuni's stonewalling this off. He does not want this wonder to die to ships. Yeah, Juicy does not have very much economy. He's only got 60 villagers at this point in the game. Juicy's still massing up Navy. It might be worth doing rams at this point. If Juicy sees like that this gets fully walled off with just pure stone wall, he should make a bunch of rams. Yeah, Jasuni is fat slobbing these mangrove shallows. He's afraid of ships. He's not afraid of land units. This is a Tipe-style victory, though. Portuguese with a wonder and a bunch of Feitorias and a bunch of fortified walls and cannons and towers and all this stuff. Juicy taking this stone over here. Juicy could actually afford another castle. I'm curious where Juicy would build it. Jasuni's wonder is about 3/4 completed. The wonder will put a timer on victory. You know, it pretty much guarantees that the game will end by a certain point. Juicy just sitting back, letting Jasuni wall all this up. Don't think he realizes that Jasuni has a dastardly plan to fill this area with fortified walls. He is teched into elite skirmisher. He gets all the upgrades, I think, as Goths. But they are expensive. The Portuguese wonder is complete. Jasuni's villagers go back to work. And now he has to defend it. He's got 194 years. He's got so many demolition ships. I don't think demolition ships are good against fortified walls. I could be wrong. I did play against a player that was like 2K4 or 2K3, and I made stone walls and he made demolition ships and he destroyed me. So Juicy's now seeing all of these layers of fortified walls. And Jasuni is seeing all of Juicy's layers of demolition ships. Juicy waiting for Jasuni to get too close so we can blow him up with the demo ships. I think Juicy needs a lot more Dromons. I know I've said this many, many times. He needs to destroy this tower. He just needs to start destroying everything that Jasuni has. And he's building up. What is Juicy doing? I guess he's burning something. There's cannon galleons out here. These are elite cannon galleons too. So they have apparently 16 range. So they actually outrange the Dromons. The Dromons would have to come out here and start working on the walls, or Juicy would have to just give up the idea of ships and just make a bunch of Huskarls and charge that wonder. Actually, I think that's the best play for Juicy, is to mass up like 30 Huskarls, maybe more, hopefully more, as many as he can, and just charge the base of this wonder. If Jasuni had like walled it off with stone walls or something. Oh, actually, Juicy's got some things down here. What is this? This is a light cav raid. Sort of a bizarre choice to make light cav when you can make Huskarls, but alright, whatever. I guess he had the stable down here, so he figured I might as well. Okay, now he's working on this bombard tower. This is what we wanted to see. Dromon's bombarding it. Jasuni teching into cavalry. And, okay, Juicy wants to attack from this side. And he's building a bunch of siege workshops. And he's going to go into rams. He still only has man-at-arms, which is kind of funny, given that it's the Imperial Age. But he'll probably get the upgrades for longswords pretty soon. Yeah, Huskarls could just run right in here. But he has a big, massive hand cannoneers now that he would have to deal with first. Longsword technology being researched. Juicy is at 70 villagers. Jasuni going double, triple gold comp here. He's got monk, he's got organ gun, he's got cavalry, he's got hand cannon all at the same time. He doesn't need the wonder. Juicy less than 100 population. The Dromons are working on these stone walls. It's going to take them a very long time to get through there. Juicy's primary initiative will be over here. You can see he's got rams. All that Jasuni needs to do is build bombard cannons, and he will put a stop to that. Wondering when Juicy will make his move. He'll probably attack this barracks and then come around and attack from this side. I don't think he's gonna try to demolish the entire town. Okay, 11 rams, some long swords. The bombard towers will deal minimum damage to the rams. It used to be that Bombard Towers did damage to rams as though they were Bombard cannons. But apparently now, when you take a cannon and you put it in the top of a building, it loses all efficacy against a ram. Which is kind of dumb, in my opinion. But they had to do it because otherwise Mesosibs would have no options against Bombard Tower forests, and people were complaining. You know, if you don't have stone, how do you counter Bombard Towers, basically, if you can't make trebuchets? Juicy deleting that Feitoria. I think Jasuni is going to get caught off guard. He doesn't have any melee units in range of these rams. These rams are going to path right underneath the town center. If Juicy is able to destroy this wonder somehow, this game could go on. Jasuni rushing to repair. He's got a lot of rams, Juicy does. But Jasuni making the fatal mistake of not having anything that's good against rams here. Not expecting this ram push. Is Juicy going to get the wonder down? No, Jasuni saves the wonder. But that was a lot closer probably than it should have been. All he needed was like 3 Bombard cannons right here. And with that, Juicy calls the GG. What a fun game. It was fun to watch. I think both players Juicy had an opportunity to win this game. He had several failed attempts to push this castle because he did not invest sufficiently in Dromon, in my opinion. Or he could have just completely ignored this castle, and after he had denied the relic victory, just boomed up and flooded the Gothic spam. Because Juicy's unsuccessful attempts to push this castle bought Jasuni all the time that he needed to build these Feitorias and win with a wonder. This is my 500 foot in the air spectator opinion of the game. So you guys can take that for what it's worth, but I've really enjoyed watching this set. The final game goes to Jasuni, and I'm sure that there will be more casts either on my channel or on Cookie Pirate's channel of these games in the near future. Oh, Juicy has some things he wants to discuss. Yes. I wonder if someone will try to counter the Feitorias with trade. Feitorias are not countered by trade. They are better than trade. "10 minutes idle TC in a 1 hour game by someone under 1K is impressive." You think it's too impressive. I see what you're saying. Well, remember that the handicap is giving him extra starting food. So it's like sort of having Lithuanian super bonus. Jasuni was approved to play in Copper Division because we know him. He submitted a map for the contest. He did not have sufficient games to prove that he was in the low 800s. Our program the computer program that I did that estimates these sort of things, did the best that it could. But at the end of the day, if you don't have enough games, you don't have enough games. The reason that he was approved to play in was because we disclaimed it as he will not be eligible for prize money because he does not meet that requirement. So even if this handicap is inappropriate because Jasuni's ELO that it's applied to is not estimated accurately, he will either wreck everybody or get wrecked by everybody, whatever it is, equally, is the theory. Standard Victory doesn't like the Standard Victory for this map. Not sure how it got approved, knowing Standard Victory was to be used. That's all I can say is that we inspected the maps. We had a guy who is at least 1900 1v1. It's been playing the game for forever. Inspect them, take a look at it, and determine the viability of different strategies and what could be done. And he inspected them, knowing that Standard Victory was a possibility for the tournament. So I've cast many games on this map. This is probably the most picked map. It's not the most played map because it hasn't been map of the week, but it's the most picked map. And I will say that the only two circumstances when Relic Victory has been triggered on this map that I can recall are when Jasuni has been playing. Relic Victory in general, it's kind of quirky on Rapa Nui. It's kind of, I wanted to see how it would go. I didn't think anybody would, and nobody's really gone for Relic Victory for the tournament, but we'll get feedback about the maps and use that to improve. It's really the best that we can do. Like in terms of map procurement, you could not ask for a tournament. There is no tournament out there in the Age of Empires world that puts as much time and effort and thought into ensuring the quality of the maps. I don't think. I mean, even like Nili's Apartment Cup, it's essentially just maybe a couple guys, Nili or maybe a few others, that'll look at the map and say this map is good or this map is bad, but they won't have a consistent, defined rubric for how they're going to grade the maps. And the process is not transparent. No, I'm not gonna change that. And again, I would not call it a fix. I would not even call it a bug. The risk is understood and accepted. And if people feel like it is not sufficiently predictable for a competition, that is a very fair argument to make, and we can update that. But I take responsibility for that decision to include it as in the configuration that it currently is. It's only map of the week once, and that's this week. And if people really feel like it's not predictable enough, that is something that is very easy to change. I agree. I think we set the gold standard. So, and season 2 is going to be even better because we're going to build off of what we learned. We're not going to have a map contest for season 2, but the maps will still be procured to the same standards for quality. I appreciate everybody's feedback about the map. It sounds like Juicy thinks it's too easy to get into a Relic Victory for the map, and he's skeptical about Jasuni being low 800s estimated elo. And so for the first one I said, we had Ray inspect it, and that's what we came up with. And if people, after we test it, testing is always better than the opinions of some 1900 player, right? 1900 players are very good, but at the end of the day, if you've got 40 people generating games, or rather 30 people generating games across all skill levels, and the data says something different, then that's what you go with. So we'll see. We may have to adjust that. And then to the second point of, well, we don't know what Elo Jasuni is, so that's why he's not eligible to win. Like, even if he ends up at the top, he's just smoking everybody, I'll just pass over him, and we'll take numbers 2 through 5 and include those in the single elimination tournament. And that was understood and accepted. Jasuni just wanted to play for fun. So hopefully that makes you feel a little bit better. I thought that these were good games. They were very aggressive, and for what it's worth, Andrew also had the same result against Jasuni when he played. I think a lot of people are caught off guard by the handicap, but I mean, there's a lot of sets out there that are getting returned. I mean, even in Platinum that are 3-0. So, when you design a tournament, you want the sets that are being returned to be 2-1s, and you want them to be close matches. And so far, all the matches that Jasuni has played, I feel, are close. Okay, all right. And That's valid, Juicy. That's a valid criticism. We'll see how it goes. If that strategy always works, then we may have to do something about it. So thanks guys for tuning in. Really appreciate your commentary, being here and supporting the channel. And we'll get more casts coming. I don't know. I don't think I'll be doing any more casts today, but Cookie Pirate might. I actually got something going on tonight, so I'm probably not going to be around. I might do a late night cast, like 10 o'clock or something East US time. So in 9 hours from now. Okay. Well, if you do, let me know and I'll try to be there, and I'll react with the cookie emoji to indicate that people can find a recording for that set on your channel. Yeah, Juicy, thanks so much for your support. And I really want to make sure I cannot overstate how grateful I am that you are basically one of two personalities in the English-speaking world, in the English-speaking Age of Empires world, who are participating in Alchemy League. Like, when I originally planned Alchemy League out, I was like, okay, you know, I'm an English speaker, most of the people in the community speak English, but only you and Ronald are playing as streamers. We did pick up a couple other English speakers in the community, but it's mostly an international crew. I think it just has a lot to do with the fact that it's a lot of games and not a lot of money. And to somebody from America, it's not really as appealing as it could be to people from across the world. So we really appreciate you being here because you believe in it. That's very obvious, because there's not a lot of the American crew in Alchemy League Season 1, so it has not gone unnoticed. So I really want you to know that I really appreciate it, especially considering that, you know, you've been streaming other things besides Age recently, although you've been trying to get back into Age, which is good. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I got to go have lunch. We'll catch you guys later, and it sounds like Cookie Pirate will have some more sets.